Hello, everyone. Welcome to Freeze Drying Adventures by Freezing Good. I am Bear,
I am Moose.
and this is our first ever podcast. We are happy to be with you today, and we are hoping to go over quite a few things, such as freeze drying trends, where freeze drying is at today, and finding farmers for local produce.
Which I think is a major thing that we need in the freeze drying community. We need to be supporting our local farmers and supporting our local economy, as well as providing really good quality food.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that we've been really trying to do is find local farmers to where we can provide people with locally sourced produce that we know where it came from. We've interacted with the people that grew it, such as the strawberries that we'll be getting whenever they come in season. And
Those are grown right in Galveston County, Texas.
yeah, and then the peaches.
Those, I don't know what county those are, but they're halfway to Dallas.
Yeah, and then the blueberries as well.
That's right in Polk County, Texas.
Yep. So we're trying to find as much local, fresh produce as we possibly can, because from our experience, and I'm sure many of other people have experienced this, whenever you get locally sourced produce, it always tastes better. It has more color.
The flavor is usually 10 times better. Like with strawberries, where we get our strawberries, the strawberry is red all the way through. They drip with juices because they're so plump and juicy, and that's how you want a strawberry. I know peaches are like that as well. If you go to the store and you buy a peach and it's hard as a rock and it just doesn't taste good, but where we get our peaches, it's a farm that's been open for a couple of 100 years now. I would have to Google that. But, it's better for you. And I know that a lot of people like the convenience of having fruits and vegetables whenever they want, but that really isn't the best for the environment, because a lot of that stuff is being trucked across the planet from who knows where. It was picked before it was done. It was then shoved into a box and put on a truck or a train or a plane or whatever.
Yeah, I remember hearing a story about strawberries where most of them are grown, or a lot of them are grown in California, and then they pick them before they're ripe, so they don't have any color, and then whenever they get to where they're going, they're blasted with a chemical. I don't remember exactly which, but it forces them to turn red. So then when you bite into it, it's mostly white on the inside, which makes it almost flavorless unless you add other things to it. And that's what we want to try to avoid, because we're trying to freeze dry things at the best quality and in the best state possible that has never been frozen. That way we can provide people with amazing strawberries that taste really good.
I didn't mean to say a couple 100 years. I meant to say a couple of decades. It's been open since '83 for the peach farm.
Oh, okay. So where do you think freeze drying is at today?
With the Harvest Right freeze dryer phenomenon, it's made freeze drying more accessible to the personal consumer. It has blown up. It is no longer strictly limited to huge companies like Mountain House, where, they don't necessarily have the best intentions for their products. They just want to pump out as much as possible, so it's quantity over quality. But with the Harvest Right being affordable, there's a lot of people now that can do it in their home, which, is good for somebody who's only trying to provide for their family.
Yeah, I think it's a double-edged sword, because what you're getting is you're getting all these freeze dryers out in the world. A lot of people don't know how to operate them, and then they're making foods and candies and things like that, and then they're selling them out of their home.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's like been in their fridge. We don't know if they have a sick kid and they're going over there and they're coughing in the fridge, and we just can't control those things. And so I do think that it's a double-edged sword, but if you're trying to provide for your family, I think that it's perfect, because the way that it freeze dries really well, and it comes out very good quality.
Yeah.
But I also think that we're importing a lot of freeze-dried stuff from China, not us personally, but I know that if you go like to the dollar store, you can find strawberries and you can find apples and bananas for really, really cheap.
$1.
Yeah, for $1. But the quality is just, man, it's so weird, because I bought some of those to try them out, and the apples just have like, I don't know, this funky taste that just stays in your mouth.
Yeah, because they spray them after to keep the shelf life, but if it's properly freeze dried, it doesn't need to be sprayed with anything.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what it is. I know that the pollution is really bad in China. I know that their quality control is really bad. I'm not saying that those specific companies have that problem, but as somebody who has imported hundreds of thousands of dollars of stuff from China for other companies, I can say that the quality control is definitely lacking.
It makes it more accessible to the masses. It gets the idea that freeze-dried food is an obtainable thing.
But I feel like it also gives them the wrong impression about freeze-dried food, because I've tried freeze-dried bananas before, and I didn't like them. But then when we started freeze-drying our own bananas, they were amazing.
Yeah, you had such a negative reaction when I said we need to freeze dry bananas. You were like,
because
I don't think so.
Because dried bananas are just so weird, and they're normally not very good. Banana chips that have been like sugared and then dehydrated or whatever, I do not like those at all. And I don't know if it's because of where they're made or so on and so forth, but I do know that after testing lots of different batches of bananas ourselves, that there's definitely some technique to it, to making sure that they're the perfect amount of ripe to,
sugar content.
Yeah, starch to sugar content, because I know if they're way too green, they just are not good at all. They're chalky, and they just like make your mouth really, really dry. After you let them sit for a while, not too long, but if you let them sit for a while, they end up really good. I could eat a bag of bananas, no problem.
That was one of the things that I was really sad about with our plantains, but Mama liked them.
Yeah. The goat.
The goat. Yeah, I mean, like, fried plantains and even just regular cooked plantains. When we were in Mexico and we got those plantains right off of the street from some random person, those were some of the best plantains I'd ever had in my life. So I was really excited about doing plantains, just because I wanted to recreate that memory in my mind, but here in the middle of Texas. So it really just depends on the local produce. It goes back to that local produce.
And back to, our topic of, where freeze drying is at today. I think it's headed in the right direction. I think that we need to start preserving a lot of this food that they consider blemished, or they don't meet the standards of quality to be going into a grocery store. I think that we need to be preserving all of that food, because most of the food that we produce goes to waste, and we need to stop wasting food.
Yeah.
And freeze drying is a way. If we can preserve something for 25 years that was going to get thrown away because it didn't look nice, to me, that's a win.
Yeah, for sure. Just cutting down on the food waste is a major issue that a lot of countries are dealing with at this moment, and especially the United States. I know that We have an intense food waste problem.
Yeah, what's the name of that website that you found?
Misfit Markets.
Misfit Markets. Yeah, so we've been looking at them. They do organic produce that just doesn't meet the standard to be considered organic, or something of that nature where they just can't sell it in the store, but the produce is still perfectly fine. So we've been looking at that because each year they say that 119 billion pounds of food is wasted in the United States, which is 130 billion meals, or more than $408 billion in food that is thrown away each year. And shockingly, nearly 40% of all food in America is wasted. So 40% of all of our food is being wasted.
Which is why we want to work with local farmers, because, the farmers, they spend their hard-earned sweat hours producing this food. I couldn't imagine being a farmer and knowing that you're growing all this food to feed yourself, feed your family, feed your community, to find that at least half of it is getting thrown away.
Yep. So we definitely want to see the freeze drying community step up and try to source some local produce, and other places like Misfit Market, or any of these places that you can get the odds and ends that can't be sold in the store.
Yes. So how is that gonna affect the trends of freeze drying?
Well, freeze drying trends, like as of right now, it's pretty much just candy.
Yeah.
Like, that's what people want.
But you also have major companies that are selling 5-gallon jugs that have prepared meals for emergency type situations. So you got to look at that as well as part of the trend, because there's a quiet uproar happening right now where a lot more people are starting to be preppers, and they're starting to want to have that security of food.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of people that have bought from these companies, and they say that they don't really like the quality of the food, that they've opened up these pails and they've unfreeze dried or rehydrated some of this freeze dried food, and that the quality of the food is just subpar. That it'll be like biscuits and gravy with sausage, but it's really just like 2 pieces of sausage and sausage flavor.
And when you're paying upwards of $100 for one of those pails, I mean, I would be frustrated, because you're in an emergency type situation and food is food, but if you're paying $127 for a 72-hour pail, and then you open it up and then you don't even want to eat it because it's so garbage, that's part of the trend too, though. I mean, I understand that Patriot Pantry or Augustin's Farm or Ready Hour Emergency Food Supply, they're providing a need that clearly is there, but are they just like Mountain House? Are they providing quantity over quality?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a major issue, and then that goes back to something that we're really passionate about with providing good food.
I think you're right, though, because there's a lot of people that have done tests and that have compared side by side homemade freeze-dried stuff to store-bought freeze-dried stuff, and we know for a fact that homemade freeze-dried stuff, you can do a lot more with it, small batch, but I don't think I would expect it to last 25 years, just because a lot of times people are adding more fat content and things like that to it that can spoil. And I mean, I would say that if you really want to prep some stuff and just make sure that it's good quality, I would definitely rotate out your stock like every 5 years,
just like
maybe every
canners
7
do.
years.
Yeah, just like the canners do. And I mean, it's a good idea to rotate your stock anyways. And also, you don't want to prep food that you're not actually going to eat, because what's the point in that? So you don't want to prep 150 bags of red beans and rice, and then by the third bag, you don't want to ever look at red beans and rice ever again.
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to prepare some stuff that is almost all carbs that's going to last 25 years and you know it's going to last and not have any problems, go for it, 100%. I would just say that the quality is probably not going to be there because you have to make some compromises to get that kind of storage.
One compromise that I don't think should be compromised is snacking. A lot of these other pail companies, they don't provide snacks. They provide meals, which is great, but as humans, we are snackers. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I eat a dinner and then about 30-45 minutes later, I'm not necessarily hungry, but I just want something to snack on. And if you're buying these 72-hour pails or these month pails or 48-hour pails, whatever, you are not provided with a snack, which if you're in an emergency type situation, like when Harvey happened and all the people in Houston and surrounding areas, they lost a lot of their property and a lot of them lost their lives. And you get in this mind state where you're just eating to survive, and that's not necessarily the best mind frame to have, where having something to snack on might be a little joy that you have in your life.
I think some of them do provide snacks, but I don't know. We'd have to double check.
We would definitely have to check, but I know that a lot of those 72-hour pails do not provide snacks.
But I mean, like you said, Mountain House, for example, their product, I don't know how long they advertise their product for, but see, they're advertising their product to a group of people, which is campers and backpackers.
Yes.
Now, if you're camping or if you're backpacking, do you really need a product that lasts 25 years if you're buying it to go, ultra light backpacking next week or a month from now or in the next year? If you ever plan to backpack, I don't think it's necessary to have a 25-year shelf life. And with that in mind, instead of providing these backpackers with the worst quality freeze-dried stuff that's out there, we could provide them with something better, with more meat, with more nutrients, that's not all carb loaded and full of starches.
Well, the problem is that carbs freeze dry well.
Yeah, I know.
That's the problem.
Yeah, but if it doesn't have to last for 25 years, if it only has to last for 5 years, then you can provide them with better quality stuff that
throw in that extra cup of meat.
Yeah, you can throw in that extra cup of meat that will be good short term. And then when they go camping or backpacking, they'll have a nice lightweight meal that will have a lot of protein and, if they want, fat and, all that other stuff in it.
Like our pizza.
Like pizza, yeah. Because we freeze-dried a locally made, hand-tossed Supreme pizza. And I can tell you, the first time that I took a bite, I was like, oh man, this is not very good. It was like just a dry piece of bread. But as I took a couple more bites, I became addicted to it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so good. Because I don't know what it is, but the more you chew it, the more it comes to life, and all of a sudden you're eating a Supreme pizza.
I think it's because your brain was telling you that you're eating a pizza, but your mouth was saying you definitely aren't.
Yeah, your mouth's like, you're eating a cracker. and your brain's like, hey, this is pizza. And you're just confused, right?
Yes. That's the same thing that happened with the avocado. When we first freeze-dried avocado, I said that this is absolutely not for me. I love avocados. I would take a spoon to an avocado and just eat an avocado, no problem. And I was really excited for the avocado. And when we pulled it out of the freeze dryer and we tried it, I could not believe how weird it was. But a few minutes later, I was going back for another one, and then before I knew it, I had ate a whole bag because your brain, you have to almost rewire your brain to understand how it's different. And I think that's one of the things why people like the freeze-dried candy so much. Because, like with Skittles, the most popular candy to freeze dry right now, instead of being chewy, it's light and airy and
crunchy.
Yeah,
the
and
flavor is stronger because I don't know, because there's less moisture or something. It makes it a stronger flavor. And
yeah, so I think that has a lot to do with the trend, just because you're rewiring your brain to something new. And I know a lot of people are picky eaters that don't necessarily like trying new things, but trying something that you love and it not being what you thought it was going to be also kind of messes with your brain. Because
I mean, I also agree with the avocado. I tried a piece of the avocado and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And then I tried another one, and what I noticed is it's like you don't get the whole avocado flavor in a bite. It's like you're getting different flavor profiles of the avocado when you're eating it dry than when you're eating it wet. So while you're eating it, you're not getting the complex flavor of all the different parts of the avocado. You're only getting like the outside part and then the inside part. And I think that's what kind of changes the taste. It's like you said, it kind of tricks you because since it's not all moist, it's not like all the flavors aren't mixing at the same time.
Yeah, but then you end up with different flavors like pickles that are the most intense pickle flavor you've ever had in your life.
Yeah.
Which is insane because you eat one little tiny pickle chip and it's like you shoved a whole skating rink pickle in your mouth at one time and ate the whole pickle in one bite.
Yeah.
So, it's really exciting to try all these different things because you never know what you're going to come up with. Like, we have these Hostess mini donuts, the crunchy donuts that freeze dried really, really well.
Yeah, they're like the brown sugar donuts or the coconut.
Yeah, they're the coconut. It's hard as a rock, but it tastes like almost like a cookie instead of tasting like a donut.
Yeah, it's weird, right? I ate one earlier and those things are weird, but they're good. I came back for more.
Yeah, it's almost like a lot of things that are doughy end up having a cracker type consistency, but the sugar, it's not as forward as it is when they're dry. Because I know whenever we had those fresh, as soon as you bite into it, all you can taste is that rush of sugar. Whereas this is more, you can taste all the different coconut flavors, or you can taste the vanilla that's actually in the dough.
Well, I mean, there's really no reason to freeze dry those because they have so many preservatives in them that they probably last 50 years on their own. But I actually like them better freeze dried.
Yeah, that was pretty good. That was my first bite.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
And why do you think I went back and ate the rest? You're like, oh, you ate my donut, but it was good, man. It was really good.
Yeah, it was. You were definitely a hand in the cookie jar.
I would eat that other half right now. No.
Nope, not allowed. But that's one of the things. We gotta find the trends and we gotta set the trends because candy is popular, but I think there is a community out there that wants good healthy snacks. Like the pickle chips, those are a great alternative to snacking on potato chips.
And the bananas.
Bananas.
The bananas are amazing because they're crunchy, they're hard, you can leave the bag open and they don't absorb moisture too fast. Which is saying a lot because living in South Texas, like we checked the humidity yesterday, and it was 70%. I think today the humidity is 68%, and that's a lot of humidity. So for you to be able to leave a bag open and for it to not go stale almost instantly is surprising.
Yeah, but it doesn't say that for the apples, because apples.
They just absorb. They just seem to absorb moisture pretty quick.
But those apples are so good.
Yeah, they're really good, but you have to like take like 4 or 5 slices out and then close the bag up and just like set it to the side, or you just eat them all at once. Whatever. I think a bag is like almost 2 apples, 2 full apples.
2 full apples. Yeah, that's about
Somewhere
what we're
around
setting in there.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, thank you for joining us today. And from all of us at Freeze Drying Adventures, we appreciate your time and we hope to have you guys back soon.
Yeah, make sure to check out our website. It's freezinggood.com. We've got an Etsy under Freezing Good. We've put out a lot of really good information in our blogs on our website. We are currently developing a app so that it is more readily available to the mass consumers. And we're going to be rocking and rolling here. We've got a lot of dreams and a lot of hopes, and we're really wanting to provide quality food.
And we're also going to be releasing new content weekly, and we're going to go over a bunch of different topics, such as some of the experiments we're trying to do. Experiments with the Harvest Right freeze dryer that other people have done, kind of going over the results of what they've been doing, healthy options, healthy snack alternatives, things like that. We're going to go over all of that in the future broadcast. But thank you from all of us at Freezing Good. Have a good day.